What's going on, y'all? Hope everybody's doing well. Blessings and favor on everybody. In this video, I wanted to talk about where we really live. And hey. Okay, where do we really live? Because a lot of people, we live in illusion. Honestly, most people live in illusion. And what I mean by that is we have been programmed, we have been taught to believe that we live somewhere when in reality, we really don't. So what I mean by that is we think we live in our house, we think we live in our state, our country, our province, wherever, right? Our neighborhood. And in our physical world, yes, that's the truth, right? But where do we live? Where do we reside? Where do we stay 24/7? Where are we every day? Every moment, every second? Where do we really truly live all the time? We live in our mind, right? So that's the truth. That's the reality. And that's why we have so many problems and we look for so many things outside of ourselves because we've been trained to look and to see the things outside of ourselves as important, as primary, as what we need to focus on, as what's affecting us, when in reality, it's us. That's what's affecting us. The way we perceive things is affecting us. The things that we believe, that's affecting us. The things that we believe people are doing to us, that's what's affecting us. That's what we're living. If somebody sends me a text and on their side, they intend love, they intend to be cool and just nice, but the way I perceive it is, damn, why did she send it like that? Why did he send it like that? What's up? Even though they sent it with good intentions, even though on their side they were communicating something real and something with love, with no bad intentions on their side, whatever I perceive it as, however I receive it, that's how the message is. It doesn't matter what the words say, it doesn't matter how it's phrased, however I receive it, that's what the message is. And that's the same thing in life. However we receive and experience, that's how the experience is to us. So a lot of times we call things good and bad. We put labels on things. We put things in boxes. We compartmentalize things. But in reality, things just are what they are. It is what it is. That's a very profound and very real quote or statement. And I feel like it goes over a lot of people's heads. But it is what it is. It's so true. It is what it is. The relationship that you had, it is what it is. It was what it was. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It wasn't toxic. It is what it is. And when I say that, yes, it could have had elements of toxicity. It could have had good elements, bad elements. But that doesn't make the whole thing that label. That doesn't put the whole relationship as a whole into that box. So, and that's the same thing with life, you know? People, we have so many different facets, so many different sides, so many different angles, different characteristics, different vibes, different temperaments. We have different emotional expressions, right? So when we're angry, if nobody ever knew us, but they saw us in that angry state, that's how they see us. That's how they perceive us. Oh, that's an angry person. But in reality, they're seeing the 1%. It's like the tip of the iceberg, but they're not seeing everything else that's down here, right? So they're not seeing how cool we are, how confident we are, all the times we make people laugh and feel loved, and how hospitable we are. They're not seeing all of that. They're just seeing that one little small piece of the puzzle, right? And it all ties back to perception, how we perceive things, how we receive things, that creates our reality. Our reality is created in our mind. And this is our home right here. This is our day-to-day home. This is our day-to-day place that we live and we express ourselves through. We see things through. We hear people through. We receive people through. We communicate with our mind, you know. 90% of, what is it? 90% of 80% of communication is nonverbal, something like that. 70, 80, 90. I don't really remember exactly, but it's one of those that's so true. A lot of things we communicate within ourselves first. Before we even respond to a text, we've already communicated with ourselves. We've already perceived the words that have been said, and we already have taken it a certain type of way. We've already seen it in a certain type of way before we even text or make our voice note or, you know, give our reply, right? And we do the same thing with our experiences. Any experience, before we even talk about it, we experience it and we perceive it in our mind first. And then later on, that's when we express those stories that we created in our mind. We express the way that we perceived the experience later on in life, whenever we're talking about it with somebody. For example, me in my past, my first relationship, I used to talk about it in a bad way because of the different painful experiences I attached myself to. I was focused more on the negative experiences, and I would forget to bring up the positives. I would forget to bring up where I went wrong as well. It was a lot of projection and it was a lot of victimhood mentality. But now I'm in that space where I understand everything. I understand her. I understand where I was going wrong. I understand where I was looking at things in a bad way, seeing things in a good way, remembering the beautiful experiences, remembering the uncomfortable experiences that back in the day I took it as pain and I took it as bad and I took her as a bad person. But in reality, I just didn't understand how to receive those things. I didn't understand myself. So that's my example. Back in the days, it was a bad relationship. Now it was a beautiful relationship. The only thing that switched is my perspective, my perception of the relationship, and how I see it. So everything, we live in our mind. This is our number one home right here. This is the only place that we live. We got to make sure that we're living in a positive, loving, understanding, harmonious environment, and not something that's negative, not something that's pessimistic, not something that's super fearful, because that's how we're going to see the world, and that's the world that we're going to live in, right? That's how we'll experience every single thing, if not most things, right? So that's all I got. I got to go in here and do some orientation or something at this job we at. So this is our mind, and this is our home. This is our home, and this is our mind. This outside reality, this external reality is not where we live. This is where we live, right here. Remember that. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, whatever you're listening to, whenever you're listening to this. And once again, blessings be on you. Stay positive. Stay strong. Don't box yourself in. Don't compartmentalize people. We have no boundaries. We have no limits. We can't be put in boxes. When we put each other in boxes, when we put ourselves in boxes, we cause more problems for ourselves. We put more stress on the relationships. We decrease our level of understanding and compassion we have for each other. Peace. If you want to reach out to me, all my handles on social media. I don't use Instagram right now, but still, you can send me some message. I'm going to get back to it. Agenda Harmony. TikTok, Agenda Harmony. Thank you.